Ladies and gentlemen, in this video I want to talk about the idea behind the yen reverse carry trade and a realistic outlook on its impact on XRP. Many people have asked me about this, so I do want to share my thoughts on the topic. So first of all, there's a lot of investors that do believe with high conviction that the next big yen reverse carry trade event, when it does happen, will automatically catapult XRP to multiple figure highs. Now, it's certainly possible, it could happen, but I'm not here to confirm that theory in this video. Because the truth is rarely that simple, okay? And the most probable outcome on a balance of probabilities could be much more subtle than people think. We don't know, we'll have to find out when we get there. But in this video, I'm going to break down what's actually most likely based on history, financial market mechanics, central bank intervention during similar instances, because yes, it has happened before, the reverse carry trade, and market behavior, and on a balance of probabilities, what would that actually look like while factoring in the unknown element, because the system is in a different place today and anything can happen. So I'll cover all the details and explain this very clearly, the things most people leave out. No hype, no wishful thinking, just data points. So if you understand what I'm about to explain here, this can give you a very real informational edge so that you can strategically position yourself for whatever unfolds. Whether it's the most extreme scenario or even something much less eventful. Either way, what your objective should be to be positioned to benefit from either scenario, regardless how things play out, while protecting your downside and managing your risk. Now, if you're interested in more data-driven analysis on financial markets, digital assets, gold, precious metals, and these macro shifts taking place in the world before they even reach mainstream, along with my personal long-term thesis behind this entire transition and financial markets, I share all of that inside my private financial market intelligence group and my Substack weekly newsletter. If you're interested, you'll find all the links in the description below. Now, for the yen reverse carry trade, this is a very interesting topic because it has a lot of logic behind it. And it can certainly happen. It's not out of the question. And a lot of people have been asking about this. So I'm going to explain this idea of how it ties into XRP very briefly so you understand what this whole talk is about. The idea is if we see a large scale unwind, the yen reverse carry trade play out again, it will trigger a global liquidity shock, a crisis so severe that the financial system would need a liquidity solution immediately to save the system. And that would be XRP. XRP, the financial instrument, would step in as the solution. And as it does step in as the solution, it will drive demand and extreme price appreciation almost instantly, overnight, or very quickly. That is the general idea behind it. Now, I understand very clearly where that thinking comes from, because there is a lot of logic behind it and it does make sense. And to be honest, XRP is absolutely designed as a financial instrument to facilitate fast, efficient settlement and provide on-demand liquidity at scale for banks and financial institutions around the globe. That part is not a question at all. That is what it was designed for. However, there are many important pieces of context missing when people immediately jump to that conclusion, suggesting that the most likely outcome is XRP shooting up to thousands of dollars because of a reverse yen carry trade. So we'll talk about it. I'm going to walk you through this from a very logical, grounded, probability-based perspective, and how these events regarding the reverse carry trade have actually played out before, because it has happened. So we'll start with the foundation here. What exactly is the yen carry trade? And what do we mean by a reverse yen carry trade? Because they're two different things. The yen carry trade, first of all, it's a simple strategy. It's been one of the most powerful and you could say even overlooked drivers of global liquidity in the financial system for decades. So what is it? At its core, the yen carry trade is a simple strategy where you have investors. It could be institutions, retail investors from Japan, and they basically, what they do is they borrow in a low interest rate environment like Japan. They borrow money and they deploy it into other investments. They deploy that capital into higher yielding assets around the world, such as US bonds. It could be the equities market, stocks, real estate, and even the cryptocurrency market and digital assets. And they basically profit from the interest rate differential in the middle. And that's how they make their money. So it's an elegant strategy. Now this dynamic has basically fueled risk on behavior across markets for years around the world. So it's something that has been going on for a very long time. Now, when that dynamic reverses because something happened, which is usually because Japanese yields rise or the yen strengthens, what happens is all those carry trade positions begin to unwind, which means hedge or sell off. And what happens in the market? Liquidity gets pulled out of the system. Investors are forced to deleverage. And of course, markets react very quickly to a liquidity shock like that. You get severe volatility, forced selling, which creates a cascading ripple effect. You get liquidations and more pressure across risk assets, okay? Now, that's basically the mechanism behind a reverse carry trade. So the carry trade is a very clever, intelligent strategy when it works, but when things turn, it's very devastating. Now, here's what's very critical and often overlooked when it comes to this whole idea. It's the yen reverse carry trade has happened multiple times throughout history, and most people don't explain it when they talk about this subject. We saw in 1998 during the Asian financial market crisis, and LTCM in 2008 during the global financial crisis. Yes, the reverse carry trade happened. We saw it in 2013 with the taper tantrum. We saw it in 2019 going into 2020 with the liquidity shock initially coming from the repo markets. And even more recently in 2024, we saw it happen, and early 2025 when we got those partial unwinds as Japanese yields began rising again and the whole tariff tantrum with Trump, okay? And nobody showed up to the treasury auctions. So this pattern has been consistent. It's happened many times before. You get liquidity stress building up in the financial markets. Markets sell off, volatility spikes, and then policymakers, central banks, step in and save the system. Central banks step in, inject liquidity, they coordinate responses and they collude together, and they basically stabilize the financial system and prevent a systemic collapse. And the damage that happens is always real, every time. It's real. But the system, they manage to patch it up somehow. They always do. Okay, more liquidity is the solution, temporary solution every time. So does that guarantee that the next time will be the same? No, not at all. If you're also looking for a way to really gain access and exposure to different digital assets, cryptocurrencies, precious metals, and whether that's buying, selling, trading, or even rolling over a 401k into crypto with tax advantages, I highly recommend you take a look at iTrustCapital. It's a very user-friendly platform. I personally use them. Additionally, I do want to mention that most people don't know this. With iTrustCapital, they allow you to actually buy gold and silver there. And your holdings aren't just digital entries. They're actually fully allocated physical metals that are available for you to request for delivery anytime you want through their reputable partners. If you're interested, taking a look at them, I put the link in the description below and you can find that there. Okay, the system is much more fragile today. Leverage is much higher. Sovereign debt levels are at extreme heights. And the system is in a different place today. It's more sensitive. We have structural stress building in the system as we speak. So it's entirely possible that at some point, a liquidity shock becomes too large for traditional conventional tools to contain the situation cleanly. That's possible. But that unknown should always be respected, and that's why I respect it. But from a probability standpoint, based on what's happened every single time this occurred, the most likely outcome, based on every prior instance, is still central bank intervention, a policy response, balance sheet expansion, liquidity injections, massive amounts, and another extension of the cycle to keep the debt-based system going. That's the most likely outcome if it happens again, a reverse carry trade. So when we look at that yen carry trade unwind and we think it automatically means XRP is going to skyrocket as an immediate solution, we have to be very careful, because I don't see that as the highest probability path, although I see it possible. So in a true liquidity contraction event, risk assets, including crypto and XRP, are likely to get hit first if it happens again, unless XRP becomes the real solution. Because the reason these crypto markets get hit and XRP is because liquidity gets pulled out. Okay, and XRP and other digital assets are very liquidity sensitive, so they take a hit. And I think if it happens again, the reverse carry trade, that's the most likely outcome. Now, where XRP becomes very interesting is not necessarily in the initial shock, because it will probably go down as well. But it becomes interesting in what comes after, which is when central banks respond and liquidity is aggressively injected back into the system. I think XRP will be one of the greatest beneficiaries in that environment. And that's where high beta assets generally, historically move the most in that type of environment. So XRP has consistently shown extreme sensitivity to liquidity cycles. And that gives us an edge. And that's the real opportunity, I think, when that next time comes around. Not the overnight utility switch being flipped during a crisis. Even though that's possible, we should still be positioned and have exposure for in case that happens, because anything can happen. But do not solely rely on that as your strategy, okay? It's also important to understand that financial system transitions don't happen overnight. It's not flipping a switch, okay? Although that could happen, but it doesn't really happen like that. Adoption of new infrastructure and new systems, whether it's AI, blockchain technology, digital assets, tokenization, or even new settlement rails, which are all coming and already in the process, they don't happen overnight. They come in a gradual process. Now, could each crisis or a reverse yen carry trade accelerate that? Yes, of course. Could it introduce elements of the new system to expedite that utility part of it? Sure, very possible and very likely. But that's a phased evolution, not a single event. And we should not solely rely on a catastrophic crisis to form our strategy, okay, and our thesis. So from an investment standpoint, I think building a strategy around one specific catastrophic scenario is not a very strategic or disciplined approach when it comes to XRP or any other asset. I think it's pure speculation. So we're not in the business of pretending that we know the exact timing or trigger of any event or any reaction an asset will have to it. Anyone speaking in absolute is telling a story, and you have to be very careful. That's not analyzing the macro financial markets and macro conditions. The best thing to do is operate in probabilities, and the highest probability framework remains clear, in my opinion, that liquidity gets pulled during a reverse yen carry trade. Markets react, and I think what will happen is policymakers will intervene, as they always do, and then liquidity will return in massive amounts, often at a larger scale each time, because of the massive amounts of debt and leverage in the system. And that's where XRP realistically will move the most, until real utility takes place and the market matures. And I see a future where global liquidity systems become more strained, and they need to become more efficient, and they'll need a neutral bridge, an asset designed for that problem. And that would be fast, low cost settlement. And I believe that will be XRP with a few others and their networks, and they'll play a meaningful role in improving liquidity in the system from cross-border flows and even capital efficiency all over the globe from financial institutions. That's the long-term thesis that comes in. Again, and that ties back into institutional settlement, tokenization, treasury flows, and payment modernization, which will take place on the blockchain because of tokenization and these different settlement layers. But that's a multi-year evolution, and I really don't think it's going to be a single catalyst, although it's possible. I'm not betting on it this time if the yen reverse carry trade happens in the next few months or something, okay? And this is why I continue to emphasize very clearly that XRP does not need a once-in-a-lifetime collapse for it to succeed and reach high figures. Over time, price is driven by two primary forces, and that's currency debasement through monetary policy, which inevitably push prices up because the fiat currency we're measuring asset prices in is being diluted, so the asset price goes up, you get asset inflation. And then there's demand from retail and institutions from either speculating or utility purposes. And together, these forces will drive supply and demand dynamics that ultimately determine price and push XRP's price much higher than what it is now from a long-term trajectory, okay? And historically, liquidity expansion alone has played a major role in asset appreciation, and the dynamics remain intact as long as the asset is measured in fiat currency. So that concludes my video, but the point I'm making is that don't solely base your entire strategy on one catastrophic scenario, because anything can happen, but still have exposure for the long term in case something like that happens, and just for the long-term destination and outcome that is inevitable down the road. That's all I got for you today. Take care, you guys. I'll see you soon.